Hello, everyone. Glad to see you back at Silver Tears Tarot. And then, of course, a warm welcome to those of you who are new. Um, I am coming to you today with another reading that was inspired by a conversation with you guys. So, actually, it was inspired by a conversation with a couple of you who mentioned that you feel like things were shifting in the background for you and your person and you wanted to know a little bit more about that. So we've had a lot of shifting in the energy across the month. I would anticipate this to continue, so I thought it would be a good thing to just kind of go ahead and check in with the energies that are happening around you. And one person that I spoke with said it felt like the rumbling of a storm. So, like with that barometric pressure drop that you can feel and everything. So that's where the title came from. But so, as you guys know, these are general readings. It's for all signs. The readings are timeless. But as I often say, you'll be more drawn to readings when it's the right time for you to have them. If this one resonates, please do like, share, subscribe. And if it resonates a lot, excuse me, you might want to check out a few more of the recent videos. We have a Soulmate series that's kind of been um, growing in popularity within this collective. And so if you're just finding me, maybe check out a couple of those recent ones. You may find a little bit more of the answers that you're looking for. So I think let's go ahead and figure out what's going on with this rumble, this sort of what's coming sort of feeling. Let's look at the current energy between you and your person. And so I'm reading for you from the Spirit Song Tarot, and then later I'll be clarifying with the Tarot of the Spirit. So, similarly named decks. We have the Nine of Acorns that's come out here for your current energy, and so this is acorns are fire energy in this, and so this is kind of a Nine of Wands sort of energy, and this is almost like you've been locked in this. I don't want to call it a battle because that feels maybe more dramatic than it is, but certainly this interaction that you've been locked in it for a little while. So it's interesting because a couple of you that I've spoken with feel like you've been intertwined with your person over the course of lifetimes. Others of you that I've spoken to feel like this separation, if you're in separation, has just been really long. But we're getting this sort of feeling where it's been a very long time. There's this locked in an impasse sort of feeling almost that's, I don't always get that out of that card, but that's what's happening there today. Let's see how they're feeling about you. Okay, we'll just take the top card. So we have the Six of Crystals, but it's coming out in reverse. And so this is, crystals is earth energy. And in this deck, crystals is earth energy, but the of crystals reversed is going to be about give and take. It's going to be about that equal exchange of energy. And so as this person's thinking about you, they are recognizing that there has not been an equal exchange of energy. Be curious to understand when we clarify how they feel about that or what they want to do about it, but they're registering it at the very least. Um, let's look at, we're wanting to know what this rumbling is. We know that there's a sense of having been embroiled in this for a little while. There's understanding that there's an impasse and maybe that it's around that give and take of energy. What is the thing? That's what we're going to ask for right here. What is the thing that sticks out the most? The thing that sticks out the most for you in this situation right now. What is the energy that is sticking out the most? If that's single, I'll take it. It's a strange way to drop it out there, but okay. All right, so we have zero. This is the first card in the deck here. So this is the Traveler. It's the equivalent of the Fool in the traditional tarot, And so, if this is what sticks out the most, then what I would say is there's a new energy. It's got a lot of a feeling of rejuvenation around it. So, there's a feeling of rejuvenation or newness. Something new is coming for one of you in the relationship, but it's going to impact the overall relationship, just the feeling that happens there. So, whether this involves both of you or not, it will impact both of you. Let's look a little bit deeper into maybe an energy that's impacting the situation. Okay, so we have the Five of Feathers, air energy. The Five of Feathers is it's an anxiety, but it's not a particularly productive one. Okay, and so this is interesting because sometimes it's a little bit like spinning your wheels or using your energy in an inefficient sort of way, I guess. So there's energy that's being used in an inefficient sort of way. It's kind of been going on for a little while here. There's that sense of things not really being in balance as far as the energy exchange, but that's something that you're both aware of now. Your person is now aware of it. But there is also this sense here. This is rejuvenation. It almost feels like springtime, kind of that springtime kind of feeling, and that's what's sticking out. So that's still happening in the energy for you guys. Let's take a look here to see. This is kind of my hidden energies space, and so for this one, it's that. What would you not necessarily be aware of? I mean, what are you not aware of, but you would be maybe if you saw it from a different angle? Hidden energies, things that you're just not seeing right now from where you're standing. I think that's the question that I want to ask. Really, what are those hidden energies that you're not seeing from where you're standing with regard to this situation overall? Okay, and we have the Queen of Acorns, which has come out in the reverse. So the Queen of Acorns is again fire energy. And in the reverse, this is really about, so in the upright, this is a very passionate queen. She has no problems moving forward and having a lot of drive to get things done. In the reverse, she has less of that drive. And so this is really an energy that's happening between the two of you again. And this reading is particularly interesting because I'm always asking for kind of that shared energy between you, but a lot of times I'll get more of your person's energy in there. I'm seeing a lot of shared energy, so I'm seeing the shared energy of the two of you having been kind of interlocked in this situation for quite some time. I'm feeling like you're both on the same page now about there not having been equal energy exchange. This energy that kind of comes up in between you, that could belong to it belongs to both of you, but it could belong more on one side or the other. This energy here with the almost the anxiety that leads to inefficiency, or it kind of it's like being flustered. That sort of energy I think sits more with your person. But for the most part, like this one also feels fairly shared. The Queen of Acorns though is that kind of the tendency to hang back. It's not so much that there isn't passion there. I'm trying to figure out how best to put it into words, and maybe the clarifiers will help, but it isn't so much that there isn't passion there. It's that it's unclear about how to proceed even with that passion. So, thinking about that, let's look at what the energy is favorable for to happen next. And so, we're not looking at your future down the road. We're just kind of right here. We're looking for what's likely to happen next based on what we have in the energy. We have the star in reverse. And so that one speaks of divine timing. It talks a little bit about things happening, but even when you can see something coming, you may have to still be prepared for it to take its time to get there. But it's a hope that shouldn't be extinguished and a wish that still has every potential to come true, I guess. Let's go ahead and start clarifying here. So we'll start with the Nine of Acorns. And we'll look for a couple of clarifiers here. So we'll just take this top card, and then one more clarifier here. Okay, we have the karma card. That one's always, I don't know why I'm always so happy to see this one come out. But let's take a look at these together. So we have the Nine of Acorns, which remember, that's your current energy, and that was feeling like you've been at this for a long time. You've been interlocked in this situation for perhaps across lifetimes, maybe across years if you've had a relationship that's been ongoing or potentially on and off, or you've been in a long separation. But there's definite there's upheaval in the energy right now. This could be primarily within, you know, your individual scopes. It doesn't necessarily mean that there's upheaval that's happening in the relationship right now, but there is definite realization, and it's being made more challenging by the fact that you guys have been at it for a while. But it's something that sets things right. So that's what this karma card is giving us, especially here in the upright and in this context. Things are being set right. So if we look at your current energy, we've got maybe the reason that if you've been feeling a little bit of agitation lately, but yet kind of trying to be mellow about things, and yet the agitation still kind of keeps coming out. It's because you've got something that's erupting in the energy between the two of you that's trying to set things right. It doesn't necessarily mean that you do dramatic things, but it may feel relatively dramatic. You may feel like things that you thought you were past, if you've been at this for a while, maybe seem like they're resurfacing. So let's look at this Six of Crystals. And remember, this was the one where we have that unequal distribution of energy. We've got one that turned over here. And yeah, lack of partnership. That's the Two of Water in reverse that has come out there. And then let's see what else has come out. And we'll just take that top card. So we've got the Six of Wind, which is like the Six of Swords. It's air energy. Um, and it's about clarity, but it's also, it says on the card, it mentions clarity, and a lot of times with these little words down here will not necessarily be what the word means, or what the card means, but they will be something that just sort of really helps to round out the image. So you've got the Six of Crystals, which is earth energy, and the Six of Wind, um, and so air energy, and it's something that isn't healed that's causing this imbalance in the energy, because this is an imbalance in the energy. It's also bleeding over to make this union feel lopsided, or like one person is definitely giving more than the other person, but both of you are very aware of it. And the problem here is like they are becoming more aware of it. So the problem for them is that it feels like something is changing in that, where maybe the dynamic hasn't actually changed, but they're feeling all of a sudden it's a lot heavier to them. So this Nine of Acorns may move to sort of a 10 of Acorns, which would be that 10 of that fire energy. It would feel like a burden. They would have the opportunity then to set the burden down, and that may look a variety of ways. But it may be a little while. As we're looking at the star, we've got divine timing, knowing that this person still has to work through their process, and so that's part of what we're seeing here. But they have realized um, that imbalance a little bit, that how much of an issue it's created with the union between the two of you, with the partnership, the lack of healing that's really driven this. Um, but I want to get a closer look at this traveler card, because this is like that Fool energy, and it's that spring rejuvenation sort of energy. And I'm curious to know what exactly is coming out of that. So, this was the thing that sticks out the most in your reading. The thing that sticks out, and you know, oh, the Empress, but in reverse. Okay. So, it's like you're not ready. Okay. But there's an effort to come together emotionally. Um, we've been waiting for this movement. In some of these readings that we've seen, we've been waiting for this movement to come, try and bring the two of you back together. And here we have that convergence, with this card. But again, it's not just a convergence like you're coming to the same place. Maybe we've had several of you that have come back together where your person has contacted you and said, "Let me come see you," or "Let's get together." That sort of convergence has been happening, but this is more a meeting of the minds, or that mental distance, emotional distance that had to be covered. And so this is that, that's happening right now. That's kind of what we're seeing with this energy here. But they are very much still not ready. So if you are one of those couples that has come back into communication and you're noticing that things aren't quite right, it's because it's like your person isn't fully baked yet. And I definitely have been getting this, in some of these readings here, that where the person may be inclined to come back your direction and have conversations with you and really want to bridge that gap, and they may be wholehearted in their attempts to do so, but they may not be actually mentally prepared yet. They may not have all of that healing done, so they may still be negatively impacting the partnership. Let's take a look at this Five of Feathers. So here's some anxiety energy. It's energy that's impacting the situation, but it's like this anxiety energy that creates a lack of, yeah, it slows you down. That finished my sentence for me. But it's basically what it does. It creates inefficiency. That's what I was saying earlier. But it has the effect of slowing you down. And so we have the Eight of Fire that's come out. Which is like the Eight of Wands in the traditional deck. And so it's in the reverse because this is having a tendency to slow the progress down. And I felt like this one was a little bit more on your person's part. We also have, though, this Mother of Fire. And so this is interesting because this Mother of Fire is the same energy as this Queen of Acorns down here. So they're both like a Queen of Wands in reverse. And they're both about that minimized passion, where the passion isn't necessarily what's missing. It's more that it's being kind of cut off at the knees. And we see here it's by this anxiety that is creating this inefficient, choppy sort of energy that ends up, slowing everything down, and slowing things down from a passion perspective too. So it's just kind of hard to get the energy moving in the right direction again. So this is something that's impacting your relationship. This is interesting. So that is that's an energy that's also being driven by what's happening in your current energy. So this drive to set things right. It's almost like things are shifting ka-chunk into place, and it's very uncomfortable. It's again, you see the tumultuous energy right here, but a shift is needed, and this person may need to take a little bit of time. Let's get to the bottom of that a little bit, because so this was energy that is relevant to both of you, but it's that it's that what's dampening the passion. So this is, oop, I dropped one. This is that hidden energy, but it's hidden energy that is the passion is taking a hit. Let's see what that means. Let's get, okay, we've got, yep, that's a single card. So we've got the Eight of Earth. Okay. This one's going to be about emotional self-mastery. There's a card that just seems to want to come up in almost every reading I've done, whether it be personal or otherwise. I've been seeing an awful lot of it, especially the personal readings, but the Eight of Earth, and having it mean emotional self-mastery. So this is a big part of what stands in the way, between this passion and, like I was saying, it feels like it gets cut off at the knees, and it gets impacted by this anxiety feeling. But what can be done about it is kind of the emotional self mastery. So I'm not saying that's a quick and easy fix or anything, but that's the answer to how do I stop this passion from getting cut off at the knees. Basically, it's energy that wants to flow, and the lack of emotional self mastery is the energy that is stopping it from flowing. You also have here just a little nuance. This is the father of water. So it's like the king of cups. And here in reverse, it is a feeling that of cutting off emotion once again. So it's kind of, it fits really well into this, but it has everything to do with not wanting to put everything out there, wanting to keep some secrets and hold some mystery close to you still. And in that emotional self mastery, you will, as you're gaining that, you'll lose a little bit of the need to hold things away from the union. You'll have more of an ability to just sort of let go, and that's a big piece of this. Just sort of being able to let go. And that would maybe turn this passion card back upside down because, like I said, it's not like the passion isn't here. Um, and so let's see here what's likely to happen in the near future. And this is what is the energy favorable for? Because we know you guys have free will, and that's always going to be true. But just when we look at the way things are leaning now, what does that mean? So we've got the Two of Wind. This is air energy. It's about a decision that needs to be made. Let's see what else wants to come out for that. So you guys have got a, huh, I think maybe that's something that we potentially look a little bit more deeply into is this decision and maybe what's the nature of it, but also kind of what happens. Okay, and the lovers, but it's in reverse. And so it's that energy of something not feeling like you actually have a choice in something. So you've got divine timing, feeling like you don't have a choice, big decision to make, and that is kind of what's coming after the current energy that involves we're making things right, and there's this tower energy, this tumultuous energy right now, sitting on top of, hey, I've been doing this for quite some time. So there's a desire to find some resolution here. And here we see kind of this almost coming up from a place where you thought there was no energy, this tendency to want to converge, but even though the two of you aren't necessarily ready for it yet. The good news is there's this understanding between the two of you. Both of you are getting it now on some level, that the energy exchange hasn't been equal, but it's not always super simple about how to set these things right. So just keep that in mind because you've got, among other things, both of you have in your hidden energy this tendency to your passion, which is very much present, gets cut short. And we see here that it has to do partially with emotional self mastery. And this is also around emotional self mastery. It's essentially a tendency to want to keep things close and a tendency to want to keep things a little bit more mystery around them and just have control of those emotions, which isn't playing very well when we see the anxiety and the inefficiency of the emotions there. It seems like it's more slowing you down and causing you to close up more. Whereas here, letting go would allow you to open up more. But this may be something that you're not able to see right now. So as the two of you are moving forward, it looks like you're moving into a place where you feel like you don't have a choice, although there is clearly a choice that has to be made here. So I think as we go into the extended, and that's what we'll do here in a minute, we'll take a look at that and we'll see kind of what is tell us a little bit more maybe about this situation where there's a choice to make, but maybe it doesn't feel as much like a choice. I'd also like to see if we can get in a little bit deeper with how they feel about you, because what's come out here is how they feel about the situation with you, but it's not so much how they feel about you directly. So maybe we can kind of look into that. Before we do that, though, I wanted to grab you. An advice card or two. So this is going to be from the Sacred Forest Oracle. Let's see here. We have the Toadstools Oracle, or I'm sorry, the Toadstools card, and it is around growth. So, if there is one thing that I feel kind of throughout this, especially with things being set right, with this tumultuous energy, this is practical energy. As much as this down here is maybe not a practical response to it, this is practical energy. This, by the way, is a normal response. So, be prepared. It may take a little while to kind of be able to cycle back out of that, but now that you guys have identified some of what's not quite right, some of what you might actually want, this growth becomes a little bit more possible. And so let me grab you another one. Just grab one more advice card, something to think about it. And this is like an across the top sort of advice, you know. And we have the butterfly spirit for transformation. So this fits right in with what we're seeing over here. We know that this situation here, because of the nature of it, is going to breed some transformation. Just because of the discomfort and honestly moving to make things right, and this tumultuous energy that you've got here is pushing that transformation. You have a lot of manifestation, transformative sort of energy here as well. It's going to help you in your growth. It's going to help you toward your transformation. But this to the one thing that wants to come through for this as much as anything for me is to focus on yourself, because this is going to require everything that you've got in order to process it correctly, to grow from it properly, and not to set yourself back. So, as you're doing your meditations, be sure that you are feeling pretty good about the direction that you're going, that you're really focusing, like I said, on yourself. And that's one of the messages that just really wanted to come out with that transformation card. So, like I said, we're going to go ahead and go into the extended now. We'll take a little bit more of a look at how your person is actually feeling about you, and see if we can understand a little bit more about the energy that's sort of that we're moving toward, that's coming your way. So we'll do that. Hope to see you over there. If not, then I will hopefully see you at another reading in the near future.